IRN parameters. These are parameters that you can set to define information associated with an IRN, and usually this information is used for call routing purposes. Now what I'm going to point out is there are a couple things that aren't listed in a manual anywhere, so I'm going to give you a little bit more information. But one of the things you can do is set the call profile value. Now, for those of you not familiar with the call profile, to make it simple, it's any associated data about the call. Most people think of data about the call such as caller ID, the time the call came in, or the queue that that call was bound for. Those are all known as call profiles inside ShoreTel, and call profiles are mandatory or custom. Now, mandatory would be the ones that are already included as part of system parameters. That might be easier for the technical guys to kind of latch onto it that way. But one of the great things about ECC is the ability to create your custom call profile. So you can set a call profile value so that if a call comes in to an IRN, you could associate the business name with that IRN, such as customer service XYZ company. Just a way I want to point out here that this is what you can do with that parameter. You can also set priority values. This is helpful when you have 3 or 4 IRNs that may represent 3 or 4 different business units, but you want different business units handled at a higher priority, such as inbound calls with someone that has an open trouble ticket that's at a high risk, or a sales IRN. Calls coming into sales can be routed at a higher priority than calls for general customer service. So you can set the priority value. You can also set the skill. This skill it basically sets up the requirements for an agent to handle this type of call. The common example I get in tech support is very easy. Let's say you have a new rep, they're in tech support. It's very common for new reps in tech support to be assigned the task of resetting passwords. If you choose a separate IRN and you set a skill for those calls coming into a separate IRN for just password resets, you can set skills to an agent that says only agents that have this skill will be presented this call. So it's a great way to really distill down who should be handling those calls, and this is how you set up that initial rule. It's basically a requirement. Now the destination for IRNs can vary. They can be a device, meaning an extension. They can be a service. We're going to talk about services in a moment, but a service is really a queue. You can have the destination be a script, a group, or an agent queue. Maybe someone presses option 1, it goes to a specified IRN, but only handled by one agent in an agent personal queue. You could do that. Their destination could also be backup points you'll use to target where your backup points are and secondary server entry points as well. And lastly, when it comes to configurations, I'm a big fan of making things dynamic. Most of the times when you create a configuration, that configuration is just the way it is for the entire day. But with ECC, there's a couple of ways that you can use shifts to alter the destination so that maybe between 8 a.m. and 12, you hit one group for that IRN. From 12 to 2, it goes to another group, etc. So this is a great way for you to kind of distribute where those calls go and where they land. So that's one way. Obviously through IVR, you can do it through dynamic logic as well.